Hello guys, it's Ged here. Can you hear me loud and clear? I don't know what to really wear this on my head. I just want to thank Laurie and Barbie for the hangout the other night there. It was really good. I enjoyed myself. I don't... Oh shit. See, told you. Shut up. Right, where was I? Hi guys, I just want to thank Laurie and Barbie. These were great guests at my house. When I watched back on it, I felt like deleting it because I was so foul mouthed through it. I was swearing a lot, but it's just because I was relaxed and I felt like we were all grown up and it wasn't anything malice. So the swearing, I suppose I can leave it here, but I did swear quite a lot, and I thought the hangout was mainly positive. Reading the comments, most people saw positives in it, so I think I'll do it again. I think the only people that had a problem with it was the people that are connected to these potato squad, like Martin Liedtke or Liedtke or whatever your name is, Martin. I don't know why you had to make 2 videos on the bounce complaining about my hangout, saying it was negative and you felt drained and ooh, boo-hoo. Well, didn't you watch it then? You said you sat and watched it for 2 hours. If you felt so offended by it, why did you sit for 2 hours? You got a cheek about us drinking. You were sitting with a Jack Daniels t-shirt on, talking about us drinking. You're advertising it, Martin. In that 3 hours, I had 2 drinks. So you can piss off with that, Martin. And by the way, I set my hangout for 18 plus because I knew there'd be adult themed stuff, subjects, and we'd be swearing and there'd be drinking. So I set it for 18 plus. Have you ever set your videos for 18 plus or any hangouts for 18 and over? Even though you're smoking weed through every fuck hangout. It's a joke, Martin. You need to get a grip. You need to get a grip. You're a total hypocrite. Saying you felt drained and negative and all that you could get was aggression. Well, Martin, I watched you on JLB's hangout with Validation Boy, and all I could see was aggression for you. Our hangout was pretty positive. We all got along. No one was converted. No one was turncoated. What are you talking about, Martin? Laurie and Barbie left flat earthers, and I'm still a skeptic, and we all got along. We're all laughing at the end of it. So you can piss off, Martin. I'm sick of you. I'm just sick of you now. You're not a British brother or anything like that. You're not. Totally different. Different tribe. Anyway, I want to clear that up because I was starting to think that maybe my hangout was negative. So I watched it. I didn't want to watch it over because I've been through it all. But I had to watch it over again, and there was nothing negative in it. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Anyway, I want to clear that up with Martin. There was another thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Satanism because it's came up a few times. Even the Potato Squad are talking about Satanism and stuff like that, and witchcraft. And so I thought I'd bring up this man called Alister Crowley. He used to live in my country in Scotland. He called himself the wickedest man in the world, the Beast 666. And a lot of people actually think this guy was all right. I don't understand it. Certain people have recommended books, and just because they recommend books that have got bad stuff in it, I didn't think that they are doing bad stuff. Anyway, we'll have a wee look at Mr. Crowley. I'll use this screen share. I've never used this screen share before, guys, so just bear with me. Okay, straightforward enough. Let's see you guys. Alister Crowley. Alister Crowley, the most wicked man that ever lived, and the world leaders that worship him. So this is your man, Alister Crowley. He was one of the early founders of Satanism at the end of the day. That was his mark, the Baphomet mark. And this guy was a evil dude. And you have to read his books. The thing is, there's a lot of people that defend him and say, oh, he was a poet, he was way ahead of his time and stuff like that, and he wasn't want to do this, and you're taking him the wrong way. No, guys, this guy was a total weirdo. And anyone that tells you to go and read their books, there's something wrong with them. And this is what I was talking about. This is a chapter taken from the book Magic in Theory and Practice by Alister Crowley. The text contains comments from the editor. The term frater perdurabo is used by the editor to refer to Crowley. The editor seems to try to obfuscate what Crowley is saying when he talks about sacrificing humans, which is marked in blue in the text. So this is a chapter from Crowley's book. What was the book called? Magic in Theory and Practice. And come on, guys, we've heard magic in the flat earth so many times. So many times. And it's amazing how many times the plane is mentioned in this. But this is a part that's important. He talks about sacrifice and the energy you get from animals when you sacrifice them and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll start here. The animal, and Laurie should actually sort of, she'll kind of get this about the animals. I can maybe get it with the animals, but to do it to other people, that's a different thing. Right, anyway, this is out Alister Crowley's book. The animal should, right, we'll start here. It would be unwise to condemn as irrational the practice of those savages who tear the heart and liver from an adversary and devour them while yet warm. In any case, it was theory of the ancient magicians that any living being is a storehouse of energy, varying in quantity according to the size and health of the animal, and in quality according to its mental and moral character. At the death of the animal, this energy is liberated suddenly. And that got me thinking about Validation Boy with his comment about energy vampires. And he was spot on. Validation Boy on JLB's Hangout with Martin and Nathan Oakley. And I think it was Tim Osman as well. When Validation Boy said that Nathan Oakley and all that were energy vampires, he's right. He's right. Because they create this garbage for hours and hours and hours for people to sit and watch. And by you sitting watching this crap, you're giving them your energy. So they are energy vampires. They're sucking your energy at you. And if they're weirdos, you feel shitty after it. Just like we sucked Martin's energy out with my Hangout, but because we were so positive, it works opposite. Works opposite to negative people. So we can suck their energy just as much as they can suck our energy. Anyway, I'm rambling. The animal should therefore be killed within the circle, or the triangle, as the case may be, so that its energy cannot escape. An animal should be selected whose nature accords with that of the ceremony. Thus, by sacrificing a female lamb, one would not obtain any appreciate quantity of the fierce energy useful to a magician who was invoking Mars. In such a case, a ram would be more suitable, and this ram should be virgin. The whole potential of its original total energy should not have been diminished in any way. For the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. So guys, when I hear about Alister Crowley, this is the sentence that keeps coming into my mind about the guy. Anybody who writes this in a book is seriously messed up in the mind. Seriously messed up in the mind. And if you read more of it, it's all sex. It's all sex magic. It's total weird stuff. And there's a lot of people trying to justify. They're saying, no, he was talking about masturbation and stuff. What? You've got a lot of sympathisers for Crowley. And it's because of the whole pop culture as well, because they're on the Beatles album. It's like they've got so many people just sticking up for this guy, but he was a weirdo. He was a total weirdo. And what I'm saying is that if people point you towards Alister Crowley, they're not pointing you in the right direction. If they're saying go read Alister Crowley, it doesn't mean that that person does anything to kids. It just means that they're telling you to go and research a guy that maybe did. And this guy, Crowley, wow, he was a weirdo. He was kind of like a genius at the same time. He was one of these genius weirdos, but at the end of the day, he was a weirdo, and he wrote it in his own books. For evocations, it would be more convenient to place the blood of the victim in the triangle, the idea being that the spirit might obtain the blood, the subtle but physical substance which was the quintessence of its life in such a manner as to enable it to take on a visible and tangible shape. Those magicians who object to the use of blood have endeavoured to replace it with incense. For such a purpose, the incense of abramelin may be burnt in large quantities. Dittany of Crete is also a valuable medium. I don't know if I'm saying these right, guys. It's late at night. I've had to wait till my kids was sleeping and my missus and stuff, so I'm quite tired, guys. Sorry about me tripping over my words. Anyway, both these incenses are very Catholic in their nature and suitable for almost any materialization. But the bloody sacrifice, though more dangerous, is more efficacious and for nearly all purposes, human sacrifice is the best. So there we go. Human sacrifice is the best. And for nearly all purposes, humans... And this was in the guy's book. The truly great magician will be able to use his own blood, or possibly that of a disciple, and that without sacrificing the physical life irrevocably. An example of this sacrifice is given in chapter 44 of Liber 333. This mass may be recommended generally for daily practice. So guys, this is unbelievable stuff. They're saying, we all know that the flat earth has turned into a bit of a cult, right? We can't escape that. And the stuff they talk about between witchcraft, crystals, all this nonsense, alternate medicines, and they've even talked about spells and the use of words, grammar, and to cast spells on people. So there's no doubt, guys, that there's some flat earthers into witchcraft and Satanism. As simple as that. And they usually support people like Alister Crowley because he was a sick individual. He was a sick individual. So anybody that tries to point you towards Crowley, you should really have a good look at yourself, guys. It's unreal. Anyway, I found a news article. It's from 2011. This character here, Colin Bately, 48, convicted of series of perverted sexual acts on children and adults. Sect members were given matching tattoos of the Eye of Horus, the Egyptian falcon god. Coven members moved from London to Welsh seaside town of Kidwelly. So it says here, guys, look at him. What a weirdo. Look at this cunt. He's a creepy, creepy guy. You can just see it. You just see it. Pure Jimmy Savile all over his face, man. The leader of a satanic sex cult is facing a lengthy jail sentence after being found guilty of multiple counts of rape and child abuse. Colin Batley, 48, exercised absolute control over his sect in the seaside cul-de-sac, abusing and exploiting helpless children as sex toys for more than a decade. He was found guilty yesterday of 35 sex offences against children and young adults. Yet social services were alerted to Batley's child abuse in 2002 and took no action. As a consequence, the former Tesco security guard was allowed to continue preying on the young and vulnerable for a further 8 years with the full support of wife Elaine. At their semi in Kidwelly, South Wales, he would dress in hooded robes, chant before an altar, and then orchestrate or participate in group sex with his female followers, including Jacqueline Marlin and Shelley Miller. One helpless girl was initiated when she was just 11 and threatened with death by cult assassins if she did not comply. At least 2 of his young victims gave birth as a result of the systematic and prolonged abuse. Yesterday at Swansea Court, Marling, 42, and Elaine, 47, were found guilty of 5 counts, including sexual activity and indecency towards children. Miller, 35, was found guilty of 2 similar charges. Another woman, Sandra Iverson, was found not guilty of gross indecency. Those found guilty will be sentenced tomorrow and face substantial jail terms. Colin Batley's home was a typical semi in a typical cul-de-sac, but to the stream of visitors who trooped through the front door, especially on Sunday nights, it was the temple. In the lounge, a white cloth would be draped over a table to form an altar with candles and burning incense. That sounds familiar. Nearby were tanks full of snakes and satanic symbols. Those present would put on hooded robes and wear upside-down crucifixes. There would be chanting, which would always end up in group sex. Children, boys and girls young as 11, were also initiated, repeatedly sexually abused, in other words. During black masses at Batley's home, there was at least 5 victims that we know of, but police believe there could be many more. Yet these vile activities did not disturb the neighbours. Why? Because they were involved too. They lived in houses next to or opposite each other on the outskirts of Kidwelly, population 3,000, near Carmarthen. For more than a decade, Close Year Onan, Welsh for Ash Tree Close, was possibly the most depraved street in Britain. The proof was there in black and white on a charge sheet at Swansea Crown Court, where Batley, his bisexual wife Elaine, and her accomplices stood trial for sickening catalogue of crimes. The most depraved street in Britain, Ash Tree Close. All of them perpetrated by culprits living in the same road, perhaps the single most shocking fact of all. This disturbing story begins not in Wales, however, but more than 200 miles away in East London. Batley from Shoreditch had a string of jobs, including work at a Tesco security guard and on a fruit and vegetable stall. He also bred Rottweiler dogs and Siamese cats. His outwardly mundane existence, we now know, masked a sinister private life. He and his wife had been dabbling with the occult ever since they were married 30 years ago and were obsessed with Alister Crowley, the most notorious Satanist of the 20th century, the self-styled Great Beast. One of Crowley's publications, the Book of the Law, includes the passage, "Let all chaste women and be despised. Sex with anyone is not just permissible, but to be encouraged. And this, some of the most passionate and permanent attachments have begun with rape. Rome was founded thereon." Apart from anything else, the Book of the Law provided justification for the couple's own open marriage. Batley had sent a photo of his wife to readers' wives section of pornographic magazines, and this had led to them meeting others for group activities, the jury was told. They include former dental nurse Jacqueline Marlin and prostitute Shelley Miller, who both joined Batley's occult circle. They were given matching tattoos of the Eye of Horus, the Egyptian falcon god depicted pecking out the eyes of Christ in Crowley's works, and addressed Batley as "My Lord." Police found him listed under the name Miller's mobile phone. Such was Batley's control over his wretched coven that they had to pay him 25% of their income. Every time Miller entertained a client, she would send Bately a text message to tell him how much she had been paid. She had sex with more than 3,000 clients over a 2-year period, making about $2,000 a month, a quarter of which went to him. It explained how Bately, officially unemployed, could afford a $45,000 caravan and frequent holidays abroad. Bately would later claim that he moved to Wales for health reasons to escape the smog, a claim rather undermined by the fact that his coven also relocated to the Principality. Police believe there was another reason for the exodus. They suspect that other members of the cult who have not been identified were based in Wales. So there's this fucking thing going on down there, guys. Well, it's not in America because they've been jailed, but there was a whole street of Satanists, and they all loved Alister Crowley. The first East Londoner to arrive in Kidwelly was twice married mother of 4, Sandra Iveson, in 1995. The following year, Bately's moved in. 2 years later, Marlon became their next-door neighbour, and Miller, 35, an unmarried mother of 2, who was brought up in a Catholic, completed the set. Did other residents have any inkling of the kind of people they were now living among them? Well, with hindsight, there was a few small clues. And these are clues, people, you need to look for. You see them, you can see them in these hangouts with people. John Wheatland and his wife Marion, both in their 70s, couldn't help but notice how Colin Bately was over at Shelley's all the time. On another occasion, the Wheatlands encountered Miller and another woman kissing and touching each other in the supermarket, yet they could have not imagined the extent of what was really going on behind the closed curtains of the so-called temple. During occult gatherings, it became the set of a horror movie. Bately, in a hooded robe, there we go again, the hooded robe, guys, would read out extracts from the Book of the Law, which we've just read, guys, which kind of says the best energy to get is young boys with a high intelligence, and it condones human sacrifice. Simple as that, guys. You can't fudge those words up. Anyway, Bately in a hooded robe would read out extracts from the Book of the Law, which had been typed out and laminated by his wife. Hanging above him on the wall was a gold ceremonial dagger, and sitting menacingly nearby were his 2 Rottweilers, Tutankhamun and Sekhet. One young victim told her Bately introduced her to the cult by raping her when she was 11, telling her that sex with him was a test. If she did not pass, she would go to the abyss. The victim, now in her 20s, told the court, "I did not want him to do what he was doing, but I did not have a choice because what Colin said happened, what Colin said went." So there's the Crown Court, Swansea Crown Court, where Bately and alleged members of the paedophile cult are on trial. Here we go. The abuse continued for years. As a teenager, she became pregnant by Bately, who prevented her from having abortion, saying that babies belong to the cult and not to their mothers. It was funny because a lot of people defend Alister Crowley, saying he was against abortion. Funny, because this guy was against abortion as well. Another victim, now in her 30s, said she was forced to have sex with Bately when she was 15. She was also ordered to perform sex acts on his wife and other men and women. And it just goes through the boy had sex with a boy of 15, and there was just all this weird shit. The jury did not believe him. They saw him for what he was, an evil and manipulative sexual predator who had used the cult and black magic as cover for his own perverted ends. Doesn't that sound familiar, guys? They saw him for what he was, an evil and manipulative sexual predator who had been used the cult and black magic for his cover. How do we know there isn't people within this flat earth movement isn't using it for this? Back in Kidwelly, there was a relief at the verdicts. "I'm just glad they're all finally gone," said John Wheatland. He spoke for everyone in Ash Tree Close. Sex cult was inspired by the Great Beast. And there's the man himself. Look. Hey, Crowley. He's great. This guy's great. The cult inspiration, Alister, the Great Beast Crowley, believed himself to be a prophet of New Age. Oh, there we go. Of a New Age. Of personal liberty controlled by the ancient Egyptian god Horus. That's not entirely true. There was another entity that told him to do this shit. It was an Egyptian one, but it wasn't Horus. It was something else. He was a bisexual heroin addict whose doctrine for life was do what thou wilt, advocating sexual promiscuity and prostitution. Crowley was a frequenter of orgies and brothels and contracted gonorrhea from a prostitute. Born into a wealthy family in Leamington Spa, Warwickshire, he gained such notoriety during his lifetime that he was denounced in the press as the wickedest man in the world. Crowley's work has also been cited as an influence by famous figures, including Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page, who bought Crowley's former home and set up an occult bookshop and publishing house which published some of his work. Page once said, "I feel Alister Crowley is a misunderstood genius of the 20th century because his whole thing was liberation of the person." Oh, haven't we heard this before? Me. Liberation of the person. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. And you've got certain people telling you to go and check this kid. This guy's good. Unreal. Right, so what do you guys think of Alister Crowley? Anyone looked into him? Anyone looked into Crowley? People? Oh, there's... got a few people in, actually. Poncho. Alright, Poncho. Alright, Alex. Alright, Laurie. John Boy. There's a few people here. Cheers, Laurie. Right, I'm going to screen share again because got something else. So did anyone listen to Globebusters new season? It's called the Amnesia season. Wait there. It's not the Amnesia season. I'm talking shit. It's the Men in Black moment. Can the wee thing they pull it there and they make you lose your memory? Globebusters just done that to everybody in season 3. There's not going to be any balloons. There's not going to be any map. There's going to be speculation about whether we can go now to the Antarctica without getting stopped. That's what they reckon now. So for how long have they been telling us that it's all restricted and you can't get down there and everyone stops you and they've got Chinook helicopters flying on top of you if you like go near the place. But now he's saying it's cool. It's cool. You're allowed to go down there. There's no restrictions. Anyone can go down there. So it sounds like they're want to maybe start a new scam. Maybe like get like one of these, like a trip going or something like that. Anyway, I just caught the end of it, and Bob just can't help himself. He can't help himself. He must hate me so much. He had to mention, and after listening to that Globebusters, the season, did you just feel depressed at the end of it? I felt depressed. The way Martin says he felt after my hangout, well, I felt after Globebusters, because they left on such a sour note. Morgile, as usual, and they're talking about that weird case with the children. Is it Hereford or whatever it was? Those kids. And I remember watching that when journalism first posted it. I got really angry. I started posting it everywhere on Facebook. I was like, this is injustice. But the more I looked into it, it started getting weird. It started getting really weird with that whole thing with the kids. It seemed like the boyfriend, the boyfriend, he was a weirdo. He sat on a Hangout, or he was on one of these shows. I think he was even on a show with Globebusters or Truth Media Revolution. Well, the boyfriend, the woman the kids got abused by this new boyfriend. All he could do was push his new age garbage. He's just a pure. He's a weirdo as well. So I'm not sure if they're all in on it and they're just trying to create some kind of publicity. But what a way to end a fucking hangout talking about that. You just felt like shit. Well done, guys. Well done, Globebusters. And Bob, what's your fascination with me? Honestly, mate, what's your fascination? Well, I'll let you hear. You had to have his wee dig.
No, I expanded on my analogy, and I know we're about way out of time, but the analogy I always used to use is I hate baseball, so I would never go and, troll baseball threads. But I think the more apt analogy would be I would certainly never go and troll Special Olympics baseball threads because, according to people like Itchies, we're retarded. So, not only are we, talking about a topic of astronomy that he disagrees with, but we're also retarded. And yet he spends...
You're retarded. And I remember you begging for people's money for behind their couch. If you can just search behind your couch, guys, and if you've got any spare change... Morgell's a total beggar, and that's why he's been brought back in. I remember when they totally turned on Morgell when he didn't like that Math Powerland's homosexual sort of MTV acting stuff, whatever it was. But they totally turned on him. That Bob especially turned on him, and now they've brought him back in because they've got this scam on the go. And Morgell's just he just begs. He practically begs. You actually feel embarrassed for him. You start cringing. Oh, it's a shame. But I'll let you listen to the rest of this.
All of his time, sort of trying to debate us on our video forum. Just ridiculous.
Do you think that some people are, so they're globe believers, but they have doubts, and so they watch our videos to kind of reconfirm for themselves? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I'm just making sure that I never got it wrong. Because there was a lot of evidence that was pushing me towards like the whole flat earth thing after I looked at NASA and everything like that. But after finding all use idiots, I realised it's all a big psyop. There's too many charlatans for this not to be a psyop. Simple. And this is why it's like you keep coming back to hope that there's going to be one person, a shining light amongst all yous beggars and all yous money grabbers. But you know what? There isn't.
I don't know how to really describe it because it's not something I would do, but it just seems like these guys who are so animate about what they believe in, even the people like Red's Rhetoric's friends and Sean Hufford and those guys, they obviously are watching. Oh, by the way, I wanted to do a shout out to Sharon. They're obviously watching and counting every word that I say. And that, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Counting every word you say.
And I just don't understand it. When you don't agree with what somebody's saying, then usually you move on with your life. You don't create an obsession with listening to something you hate. I don't know.
Or maybe they should spend their time making videos about how the Earth is a sphere and the proofs for that. But they don't do that. Yeah, exactly.
There's an easy way for me to shut down my channel and go away, and it's called "Prove We Live on a Ball." That's it.
Yep. Right. And there's one other thing also that people seem to
here he goes
watch us for, or watch Nathan or Antonio.
Here we go. This is Bob. He couldn't help himself, and he didn't have to say this. He just makes himself look like a crying old fool, just crying his eyes out all the time. Anyone that watches Nathan, these people that watch Nathan, what's Nathan got to do with this season 3? What? Why did he have to just bring up Nathan and these people that watch Nathan? Anyway, I'll let you listen to Bob, and we can guess who he's talking about. He says he doesn't want to say my name because he'll give me a big head. But we know who he's talking about because listen to what video mentions.
Whatever. And that's the, I guess for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it the Jaron Springer show effect. And that is that, and I'm not going to mention names because he'll just get a big head over it, but there are some
Ged Skeptic Media
people that listen to our shows, and for the explicit purpose of, acting like they're doing some community service by calling us out for talking about drinking piss or.
Right. For starters, Bob, who called you for drinking piss? So why are you defending these people? I didn't even make the video about you and you're defending them. You're just showing yourself for what you are, Bob. Just a big child mentality, a childlike mentality. And with your garbage that you're talking through this show, he actually turned around and said, guys, that stars come from pyramids. Do you know how many pyramids there is in the world? Well, check how many stars there is. I'm not saying it's true, but stars could be pyramids, and they're pointy, they point up. They point up at the sky. So they could be from pyramid, and they're pointy. So guys, stars are from pyramids. I think season 3 is just going to be, it's just going to be one big scam. Do they think that people forget? They must think we've got like amnesia. Like when they start a new season, it's just hit a reset button, and they think that all these news, like all these subs, are just going to refresh their brains. And there is going to be people got to pick them out until they prove, until they get a balloon up there. A proper balloon. Come on, people. We listened to them. We watched that Hangout that night, and they were getting money, and they were like, yeah, rolling the money. They were rubbing their hands. They were like, money, money, money. And then we watched the balloon, and it fucking crashes on the road and gets dragged down the motorway by a car. That's what it looked like on the map. It looked like, hey, and then it travelled. The balloon started getting faster than it had ever in the whole journey, and it was actually over the motorway. I think it actually landed on the motorway, and a car's dragged it down the road, and it just rolled to the side of the road. It's pathetic, and they'll not give you a balloon. And they're looking at these tiny. It was like a shopping channel half the time watching Globebusters. They're going through all the devices they need, the cameras they need, all this equipment that they need, but they had to have all the price tags beside them. They couldn't just show you pictures of them. They couldn't have ready-made pictures of the stuff they need on a presentation. They had to have the price tag beside it. The cha-ching. Hey guys, we'll donate some money. That's all they need, is a couple of plants in that chat to say we'll donate, and it's like a fucking disease. You get the people that think they're immoral. Oh, I'll donate as well, and it's a big scam, guys. It's a big scam. People should. How many subs it can? I've probably already disliked this, but how many subs have these people got? Really, how many subs have these people got? So I just wanted to clear that up with Martin, because he's a pap, he's a Raj, and he's a bampot. If you don't know what they words are, just research them. Anyway, you can see here, if you want, guys, you can pause it. I can flick through it now, but there's a lot of reading here. But you can see here, term New Age, the Book of the Law. That's the one that mentions that. And like I said, there's you can't argue with that statement that's wrote in that book. So here he trained himself to think backwards, learn to write backwards, learn to walk backwards, listen to phonograph records reversed. You can see the sort of reverse symbolism, the eye symbolism, prints, the police. All these people loved them. All these people loved them. Holy shit, there's Obama with a Crowley t-shirt. That can't be real, can it? Nah, that can't be real. No way can that be a real t-shirt. But when they surprise me, guys, it just when they surprise me. Anyway, I think that's all I really have for yous. We'll look at chat. John LeBon is in the house. At Alex, bingo, you have to admire the evil brilliance involved with what these people do. Oh, do you now? Do you admire the evil brilliance? what is it with people named Jeff? Jeff Stewart's a gang of liars. Why is it I'm a person who believes in flat earth but get along fine with Ged? Jeff is awesome. You should do a research about Crowley. Conspiratrolls. Is this another Crowley sympathiser? It doesn't matter. I don't know what you see in this person, honestly. And bipolar troll, if you're, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to stop broadcasting. I just want to thank Marvin Sands in the comments. He's been cool. Validation Boy has been awesome. And it was so funny, Validation Boy and JLB's Hangout. That was the best part of JLB's whole Hangout, was Validation Boy. Totally. That was the best part. I thought Validation Boy was speaking for the heart. And he's right. We're all energy vampires. We're all energy vampires. And John, you know it too. Just the fact that you make videos, you consume people's energy and time. And with what? Really? With what? Does it help their lives in any way? Even what I do. I don't think I help anybody. Maybe I'm a vampire as well. Anyway, have a good night, guys. And there was someone else I was meant to mention. There was somebody else I was meant to mention. Martin had a problem with my Hangout, and someone else had a problem. What's his name again? I can't remember. See you later, guys.